The Gaza Strip is back in the world news. For a second day, Palestinians firing rockets into Israel, the Israeli army responding with shelling and airstrikes, both sides accusing the other of starting it. There's been a growing number of raids since the start of the month, so it may be premature if we jump the gun and assume that the locals were emboldened by Tuesday's visit by the Emir of Qatar, or as others have argued it, that the Jewish state is sore over the first visit by a foreign head of state since the hardline Hamas took over the Gaza Strip 5 years ago. Whichever way you look at it, the Emir's visit is certainly turning heads. We're going to chalk up the winners and losers of that 4-hour trip, the biggest loser undoubtedly being the Palestinian president Mahmoud Abbas, who from the West Bank seemed out of the picture. Today in the France 24 debate, the Emir goes to Gaza, and with us to talk about it from Beirut, Osama Hamdan. He's Director of Foreign Relations for Hamas. Thank you for joining us. Thanks as well to Fatah member Kareem, AMIRA, graduate student at the French Political Science Institute, Sciences Po. Also with us, MIHAELY, columnist with Israeli newspaper Yediot Aharonot. And from Jerusalem, NUSEIBEH, founder and director of consulting firm Cornerstone Global. Thank you for being with us. The France 24 debate, where you can always weigh in on the conversation on Facebook and Twitter. You can find us at François F24. Now, some 60 rocket attacks from Gaza since the start of the month. I guess I should go directly to that question, and I'll put it first to you, Osama Hamdan in Beirut. Why is there a spike in violence, or is it just that we haven't been paying attention?
Well, thank you, first of all, but I don't think that it's a sign of violence. Everyone have to understand that we are still under the occupation. Israel is putting Gaza under a siege, and Israel is attacking Gaza every day. I have to mention today, the Ministry of Education has evacuated all the schools nearby the borders between Gaza and Israel, which means, or because they were under a threat from the Israeli side. The reaction, or the actions from the Palestinians, in fact, is a reaction towards what the Israelis are doing against the Palestinians.
Again, the question though is why is there this increase in your view in these attacks and retaliations?
Well, I believe the increase of those attacks from the Israeli side for the last few days came for two reasons. The first one, they were trying to undermine the visit of Sheikh Hamad, the Prince Emir of Qatar, to Gaza. And they did their best to do that, but they couldn't achieve that goal. And the second point, in fact, they are trying to also to react towards some facilities and some facilities from the Egyptian side, which is making the life in Gaza at least less difficult than the Israelis are doing from their side. So they are trying to prevent the steps which was taken by the Palestinian government to solve some problems and to make the life of the Palestinians less difficult than the Israelis wish to have.
MIHAELY, what's your explanation?
First of all, I think that the interesting fact is that Hamas itself took responsibility for the recent launching, as against the situation in the last few weeks, few months, where it was the work of certain groups, and this is one of the problems between Israel and the Gaza Strip, is that it's not clear whether or not Hamas is the only captain aboard. Why Hamas decided that he should take a higher profile? I think it's essentially for I'd say domestic questions. In receiving the Emir of Qatar, they manifested that they are the sovereign rulers of Gaza, and that they are positioning themselves as the leaders of the whole Palestinian entity, or the whole Palestinian state, and therefore they could not allow other groups to take up the armed struggle against Israel.
So that's as far as claiming responsibility over what has happened in the last 24 hours. But again, these rocket attacks and the retaliations have been happening since the start of the month.
It's even longer. I think the destabilization of the Sinai and the change of regime in Egypt changed the situation radically, and there's more and more violence. More and more, the average violence is increasing. There are more and more rounds of exchanging fire, and there are more and more attacks through the Egyptian-Israeli border, or related to arms smuggling and combatant smuggling into the Gaza Strip.
NUSEIBEH, your thoughts on all of this? How do you see this spike in violence?
Well, it's obviously an unfortunate incident that happened today, the rockets, over 70 rockets, and the retaliation. It is unfortunate that it's happened after the visit of the Emir. I cannot say whether that's related or not. It obviously is one of the negative consequences, whether indirect or direct consequences. But this is the Middle East. The leadership of Qatar, His Highness the Emir, and his advisors are aware that the Middle East is a difficult situation. The Palestinian area is a particularly difficult one. However, that should not undermine the fact that the visit of the Emir has been a success as far as the Palestinians are concerned, despite the potential a treacherous road of that will face anyone who gets involved in Palestinian politics. I think the key thing is that the Qatari leadership has taken a bold step, and that is what it needs to be congratulated on. The incident is a negative consequence. That is unfortunate, and I hope that would be the last of what we hear of such attacks.
A bold step. Why do you say that?
It is a bold step because the Qatari leadership are aware that anyone who tries to get involved in the Palestinian politics, Palestinian-Israeli politics in particular, will face enemies. And the brave leadership, I think, and I underline the word brave, of the Emir, of the Prime Minister and of the leadership, is that they have decided to tackle this hands-on. They have done what others have been reluctant to do, being fully aware that it is a very, very difficult situation. And I think that what makes Qatar assume a position that others in the region have been unable to assume. And therefore, I think it should be seen as a win for the Palestinian population in general, rather than for Hamas. If it is viewed as a win for Hamas, I think that is a mistake. I think it would embolden a certain line of thinking. It would help extremists who would be happy to use violence, as we have seen today. And I don't think that would be the right approach. I think the right approach would be to look at the visit of His Highness to Gaza as a first step of Qatari involvement in Palestine, and I hope it would be followed by similar moves both in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. The fact that there was no visit to the West Bank is not because of Qatar, it was because of the leadership in the West Bank, who should have engaged directly with the Qatari leadership, and I very much hope they're happy to re-engage very soon.
Kareem, AMIRA, you're a member of Fatah. Is this a bold step for all Palestinians? Do you agree?
Well, first, before saying that I agree or not, I would say that having a brave step, I don't see it as a brave step, because the reaction of the Israelis came to Gaza, they didn't go to Doha. And the proof is that we still have this economical and political relation between Doha and Tel Aviv. So I don't see it as a brave step. I see it as a good one that the Emir of Qatar came to Gaza. We need the support, but we needed more political support than we do need.
So what are you saying, that Qatar should sever ties with Israel?
Qatar should take a position. Qatar should take a position if they want to support in different ways. And if we're talking about a Palestinian internal situation, the step they should be taking in enforcing the reunification between Fatah and Hamas at one side, and the other side, if they want to be more brave, let's see what is their relation with the Israelis after attacking Gaza just one day after the visit of the Emir. And I see it like one step should be taken now from Doha. It's not just a matter of visiting Gaza, giving some $400 million It's important, we need them, but we need more political support now.
NUSEIBEH saying that the Palestinian Authority in Ramallah made a mistake by not having him visit both.
Well, it's not a matter of visiting both. It's a matter of putting efforts to visiting both at one place. Because we know that anyone against Palestine, and I mean, like, let's say straightly about Israel, they are the only one who's winning out of this division between Fatah and Hamas. So the efforts should be not to visit both. The brave is to visit the Palestinian Authority, whether it's Fatah or Hamas. So the effort should be sent to this direction rather than enforcing this division between them. Because coming to Gaza is like, I always will appreciate anyone is welcome to Palestine, whether it's West Bank or Gaza Strip. But one of the issues now is we are separated. The Israelis, the occupation, are putting efforts to separate us. I'm from Bethlehem. I never been to Gaza. So I want Qatar and any other countries in the world who want to support Palestine to make efforts to make it to unification again. It's this political issue. And if we are talking about money, 400 millions are put in Gaza today. It's better to put half of them and to ensure that the Israeli aircraft will not destroy them in 1 month. It's investment. So be sure that there is no aircraft attacking the building that the Emir of Qatar had just built yesterday. So it's a matter of politics.
Osama Hamdan, what do you think of Kareem's idea that perhaps it would have been more judicious for all sides to meet in one place?
Well, I think Qatar has spent a lot of efforts in order to support the reconciliation between the Palestinians. And I have to remind you, there was a Doha Declaration in February this year, signed by both Abu Mazen and Khalid Mish'al. It's clear also that His Highness Sheikh Hamad has called Abu Mazen before paying the visit to Gaza. And the main subject was, during the talks, the visit to Gaza. And I think Abu Mazen has lost the moment. He lost the moment. He was supposed to be there in Gaza. And I think if he went there, he will be welcomed, because at least we have agreed in February that Abu Mazen can form the government, the unity government, and he can be also the prime minister, which means he was supposed to make a step. He was supposed to have an initiative towards what Sheikh Hamad have done in Gaza. But unfortunately, Abu Mazen is not working hard for the reconciliation. He's not putting real efforts to do that. He's aware if he did that with Hamas, he may be punished by the Israelis and the Americans, rather than what is the benefit for the Palestinians, what will be the best for his people and his cause. So I think it's better to be together. That's true, and we are working to that. But that is not supposed to prevent the support and the help for the Palestinian people. And this is one of the important messages in His Highness Sheikh Hamad through his visit to Gaza, that if the division continued between the Palestinians, that will not prevent the region, that will not prevent the Arab countries, that will not prevent some leaders of the region to continue their support for the Palestinian people and the Palestinian cause also.
Kareem, AMIRA, you just heard there
Sure.
Osama Hamdan saying that why doesn't Mahmoud Abbas go to Gaza? It'd be perfectly safe for him, and he should be the one to come over there as well.
Yes, sure. But before of this, I want to agree with Mr. Osama about that Israel don't need reason to attack Gaza, even if the Emir of Qatar is there or not. But talking about Mahmoud Abbas, the Mahmoud Abbas now is under he was not seeking the happiness of the Israelis or the Americans, and the proof that now is Lieberman is running an international campaign against Mahmoud Abbas, and he's trying to suicide him politically.
You're talking about the Israeli foreign minister?
Yes, to separate him because now we are putting efforts to go to the United Nations. We are one step back. We want to say we want to be a member in the United Nations, not full membership. But at this moment, instead of Hamas and Qatar supporting Mahmoud Abbas as the president of the Palestinian state, as the head of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, going to the United Nations. And we are not in a side to seek for anyone's justifying ourselves. We're going to the United Nations. We know the Americans are not happy. We know the Israelis are not happy. Despite that, we are going. So it's not a matter of, we are not trying to make anyone happy. We're trying to, our president have been putting efforts. Personally, he's in danger now, and we know what Lieberman is planning for. So it's not a matter of.
So why doesn't Mahmoud Abbas go to Gaza?
Well, first, I just following what Mr. Osama have mentioned, that Qatar have made steps. It should be followed. But Mr. Abbas is in his office in Gaza, in Ramallah, and the phone call made by Emir Qatar. No one knows what is going there, but there was no official invitation like to go and negotiate, because the negotiation need to have agreement before that. We need to agree on the election. Election never happened in Gaza, and the election committee were thrown out from Gaza. So different issues need to be discussed. It's not a matter of personal existence in Gaza or personal existence in Ramallah. It's a matter of political acceptance.
All right, NUSEIBEH, you were saying earlier that this should be seen as a positive step for all Palestinians, but as you can hear from Kareem AMIRA, it's not perceived that way by those who support Fatah. This was, to many, inevitable with him the Emir traveling to Gaza.
Well, I think it's a mistake, and notwithstanding today's events, the strongly condemnable rockets that were fired into southern Israel and the reaction, I think the visit should not be politicized. It is a new way of doing business in the Middle East, which Qatar has led since the start of the Arab Spring, and now they're bringing it over to the Palestinian side. They're doing it by economic diplomacy. Qatar realizes that jobs, Middle East jobs, are the key driver to what caused the unrest in the Middle East. Jobs are important everywhere in the world, but in the Middle East they're particularly important because it's not about bread and food on the table, it's about dignity and respect. And that is what the Emir of Qatar and the Qatari leadership are trying to do in other Arab Spring countries, and now have brought to Palestine. I think politicizing it as a Hamas versus Fatah is a mistake, because now there is a win for Hamas, and I don't think Hamas should take credit for the visit. Now there is a loss for Fatah. I think it is a win for Qatari diplomacy of doing business, looking afresh at how you deal with the Middle East.
All right, you mentioned economic diplomacy. We're going to pick up on that point and see what's in it really for Qatar when we come back. You're watching the France 24 debate.